How was it sleeping in your own bed again, my friend? I have a little bit of a surprise for you, buddy. Hey. Hey, you. Do you want to go to the park with me today? You do? You'd like to go to the park too? Are you sure? Okay. Daze with Jordan the Lion and this little monkey begins now. That's right, my friends. Today is the 1-year anniversary of Daze with Jordan the Lion, the daily vlog. 1 year ago today I said, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do, and I don't even know what I'm doing. But I'm gonna go out and try and do it. And since today is my 1-year anniversary, I wanted to do something special. And to me, there was only one thing that I could think of that was special enough to go and celebrate on my 1 year and kind of tell you why it is that I do what I do and why I don't give up on the things that I try and do. So today, we are going to go visit someone very special to a changing point in my life. It is definitely a beautiful day out here today. I noticed immediately my my throat's gotten a little bit worse since I've been here. I don't know if it's maybe the air or what it is, but we're gonna be going on a pretty long drive today. And it's actually a place that I don't go to very often because it's a pretty emotional place for me, and the person we're going to see told me not to come very often. And I also really wanted to thank everybody that has watched me over the year, whether it was from the very beginning or whether it was from a day ago. Thank you so much for caring about what I'm creating and always throwing out ideas and inspiring me to do just a little bit more every day. Alright, well, Jaw's been reacquainted with the park, and now we got to go out and we're going to go do my 1-year anniversary vlog. I actually booked myself for work. I'm going to work a catering job tonight, back to the old grind. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? And tomorrow I'm picking up the lioness from her business trip at the airport, which gives me a really good reason to vlog something else down there that I've wanted to vlog for quite a while. So tomorrow ought to be a really good day. I've wanted to see this for a while. I mean, pretty much since I moved here, and I've never made the effort to go over there, and tomorrow is the day. I'm pretty excited. And I mean, of course, I'm excited to see her even more. So I flew back in to Los Angeles, went straight to her house, hung out with her for the night, and then took an Uber home, and that was all I got to see her. I was supposed to drive her to the airport the next day, but God love her, she said, I'll be answering emails and sending out texts and doing all this stuff for work, and I don't want you to see me in work mode. So she didn't want me to take her, which is kind of a blessing and a curse, because going to LAX and back is a nightmare. But I also would have loved to have seen her off, but I also probably don't want to see her in work mode, so I guess thank you. Well, here we are, the grave of Al Jolson. And Al Jolson's not actually even the topic of our vlog today. Shelley Winters is, the woman who was my mentor, my friend, and the woman that changed my life. The person that told me, honey, you'll never get anywhere if you rely on other people. Do it yourself. When I was working as a delivery guy for Jerry's Famous Deli, one day I got called to a rehabilitation hospital to deliver food, and when I showed up at the room, it was Shelley Winters. For some reason, she took a liking to me, and we sat and talked for about 5 minutes, and she said, would you come back and visit me? And I did, and that began the start of a long friendship. One of the first things she said was, you have an amazing personality, and I think if you're not acting, you're wasting your time. And I said, well, I'm actually in a band and I want to make music. And she said, you'll learn that you're wrong, and you'll learn that I'm right. Because if you rely on other people, you'll see that nobody else wants it as bad as you and has what you have to offer. Just become an actor, and I'll teach you. If you're willing to learn, I'll teach you. She was in a pretty sick state at that point. She had had pneumonia, and that turned into dementia. But I met her shortly after my grandmother died, about a week after, and she quickly assumed that role in my life to help me get over it, as well as becoming a best friend, somebody I will always consider a best friend. And she told me that, she said, trust me, even if it takes you a long time, even till you're an older man, you'll make it in show business in some way, because you have charisma and that only gets better with age. So that gave me the opinion and the idea for the rest of my life to just never give up, because she was a great judge of talent. And now I look back on my life with her and I think all the people that she knew in her life, Elvis, Howard Hughes, Picasso, all the people that she called friends. And then she found a friendship in me somehow. She saw me as somebody special just like those people, and that always keeps me going. And when my acting career wasn't going somewhere and I was thinking, what can I do? I saw a guy who did daily vlogs and I thought, you know what, I have a pretty interesting life. A lot of weird things happen from day to day. Maybe I should try doing something like that and show the things that I'm interested in. And because of seeing that channel, The Daily Woo, and knowing Shelley Winters and knowing her belief in me, I started my daily vlog. And now it is the thing that I am the most passionate about. Now, she always told me when I die, I'm gonna be buried right here next to Al Jolson with my mom and dad. And I don't want you to come visit me all the time, but I want you to think of me and come visit me sometimes. So that's what we're here to do today. We're gonna visit Shelley. She was a wonderful woman that, as many people have a story about her that have lived in New York or Los Angeles of meeting her, knowing her, I never once had a bad word to say about her. She treated me with utmost respect, and it really showed me that Hollywood wasn't all just a bad place. You could meet good people, and she was one of the best. Now, the reason that she wanted to be buried here beside Al Jolson was because this is where she had her father buried. Her father was a big fan of Al Jolson, used to play his records all the time and used to sing his songs to her. And so when her dad passed away, she wanted him to be buried next to Al Jolson's monument. And then her mother would be also buried here, and because of that, Shelley decided that she wanted to be buried here. Now, one of Shelleys' wishes for me was always to see the world. When I met her, I had never been to Europe, and she said, honey, you gotta go to Europe. You have to go see the world. You have to go see what came before you. And she even used to jokingly say, I think that's why I married Vittorio Gassman, was because he was an Italian star and it gave me a reason to go to Italy all the time. And so when I was on this trip, I decided then, I said, there's only one person or one thing that should be honored on my 1-year anniversary, and it should be Shelley. And then when I went to do my foreign currency exchange and they gave me back some Icelandic coins and a few euros because it didn't quite match up with the US dollar, that dawned on me that that is exactly what I should do, was come out to her grave and leave those coins on her grave. Many of you have seen me do many cemetery vlogs, and many times I would say, I don't understand why they leave these coins on the grave. And many people finally told me it was a tradition for good luck in the afterlife, and Shelley was Jewish and this is a Jewish cemetery, so I brought those coins and I want to leave one on her grave, one on her mother's grave, and one on her father's grave, as well as Shelley's birthday's coming up in just a few short days. And so I brought something in honor of her being a Leo and our friendship, and I wanted to come out here, especially at this time of the year, because I wanted to honor her for her birthday. Well, here we are. First, we're at Shelley's father's grave. Jonas Schrift, a man that taught her a lot. He owned a business when she was a young girl, and very, very young girl. And the business caught on fire, and he was accused of setting that fire himself and was thrown in prison, and she told me that he was never the same after that. But he was the biggest part of her life other than her mother. And when Shelley finally made it big, First thing she did was buy a duplex that her mom and dad could live in right above her and help take care of her daughter. So this is for you, Mr. Shrift. And then right next to him was Shelley's beloved mother, Rose Shrift. Shelley's real name was Shirley Shrift, and she changed it because they said that there were too many Shirleys in those days because of Shirley Temple. And they said that she needed to change her name, and she said that her favorite author was Shelley, Mary Shelley. So she became Shelley, and her mother's maiden name was Winters. So she became Shelley Winters. There you are, Miss Shrift. Hi, Shell. Good to see you. Well, here she is. I used to spend, I would say, 3 or 4 days after work a week going over and hanging out with her and watching movies with her and talking to her and listening to all of her stories and having her point out to her living room at her telephone and tell me how Elvis used to sit there on her phone ringing up a bill talking to his mom in Graceland. And actually this would have been before Graceland. I think this was in Tupelo, while he would be waiting for Natalie Wood to be dropped off because Shelley was the chaperone when they dated. And it was an experience that you can never replace. As one of her friends once told me when I was over there hanging out, she said, treasure your moments with her. She's the last of the true celebrity stars when it meant to be a star. And it's funny that no matter how old she got, before she left the house, she always had to fix her hair, and she always had to look in a mirror and make sure she looked good. And I remember the last time I went over to visit her, I went to her house and knocked on the door and there was nobody there. And that wasn't always that uncommon. Sometimes she woke up late. She was always a night owl with insomnia and then would sleep during the day and usually would wake up shortly before I got there. I usually got off work about 3 and she'd wake up about 2:30. So it wasn't uncommon for her to go eat at a Silver Spoon restaurant with her friends or whatnot, but that day something fell off, and about 3 days later my job sent me on a delivery over to Cedars-Sinai Hospital, and I was waiting in the lobby for an elevator, and they came pushing her in a bed across the lobby. And I ran over to her and said, "What's wrong? What's going on? Are you okay?" And she said, "It's not looking good." And I said, "Well, as soon as I get off work, I'll come over and visit you." And first time she'd ever told me, "No, it's okay. It's okay, you don't have to. Don't bother." And a couple days later, she passed away. I think that last stint she was in the hospital for a week or week and a half, and she knew she was leaving. She knew she was leaving us. I think she just got to a point in her life, and I saw it in her face, where she had lived what she wanted to live, and she was just waiting to go. And Tony Franciosa, her second husband, had passed, and Marlon Brando had passed, and I think it was just her time. I will forever be grateful for her. She's truly inspired just about everything that I've done since her passing. Even when I quit acting for a few years because I thought that I just couldn't do it without her. Eventually one day I decided that she was probably right, and then I said, you know what? She wanted me to do this, so I owe it to her to give it a shot. And I'm glad I did. Shelley let me know when she was alive that I wouldn't be able to go to her funeral, that her family members would never allow it, and that she would be cremated within 24 hours of her death because of her Jewish religion. So my heart's with you, Shelley, and don't worry, I never have forgotten about you, and I will never let anyone else forget about you. And guess what, Bubba? I went to Iceland. Did you ever get to go to Iceland? And Michael got married. Michael and I helped move Shelley out of the hospital when she decided to go home. And she always liked Michael, so rest in peace, Shell. Thank you for everything. And since it's going to be your birthday on the 18th, I certainly wouldn't forget, don't worry. We were great friends because we were both Leos. So this is for you, Shelley. So I'm nominating you as Lifetime Achievement Award Lionheart, Shelley. I can almost hear you singing Mammy right now. That was the Al Jolson song that her father used to sing to her. And so every once in a while she'd break out into song and she'd sing it to me. I remember the first time after I met Shelley and decided that weekend I was going to go visit her in the rehab hospital, and I'd been reading her book and read how much the music for the opera M. Butterfly meant to her by Puccini, and I brought a little CD player with some portable speakers and played it for her, and I'll never forget her smile as I played it and her hand up as she pretended to conduct the symphony. So go listen to that right now if you don't mind, and a little something for you, Shelley. Well, that's an Elliott Smith lyric. As we walk along the Hollywood Strip, I notice you see that some people have TVs and some people have microphones and some people have upside down film cameras. Those all represent something different. Some represent television, radio, film, recording, and Shelley's got one here for being a movie star. I wonder if they'll ever do them for YouTubers. Have a good night, Lionhearts.